Hi everyone and welcome to the Make Ondo State Great Media Chat. We had our program on Adaba FM yesterday, Adaba FM 88.9 Akure yesterday, which usually holds 10:30 a.m. on Wednesdays. Interestingly, yesterday, the Ondo State Government had now come on the same platform, Adaba FM, and started a program they call Ayedatiwa Half Hour, and to respond to the issues relating to the governors of Ondo State, issues relating to transparency, accountability, and good governance, which the Make Ondo State Great movement had been talking about since the inception of the movement. So the government has now come to Adaba FM and began their own program to respond to these issues as we raise them. Our first reaction is that we must commend the government, because at the end of the day, the first thing we are demanding from the government is accountability. So for them to have accepted that challenge and accepted the responsibility to come on air, come on radio to speak to the people of the state, respond to those questions we are asking, which the people have the right to be informed about. So for them to have decided to come on radio and talk to the people of the state directly, we take this as the beginning of the process of being accountable to the people. And so we must applaud the state government for taking that step. So yesterday they had the first edition of their program by 1 p.m. on Adaba FM, and like I said, the program was titled Ayedatiwa Half Hour. And some of the questions we raised on our program and some that we had raised previously on our programs were put across to them by the media men, and they responded to those questions. However, their responses raised further issues. And so we at the Make Ondo State Great movement have now decided that we will come on this platform, our media chat, every week after the Wednesday episode, meaning that after the Make Ondo State Great movement program on Wednesday and after the Ayedatiwa Half Hour on Wednesday, we would come back here and do some explanations of the issues and respond to their own explanations of the issues so raised and debated on the two radio programs. So I'll be playing the voice note, I'll be playing the audio recording of their program, and I'll be responding to the issues as they come up. However, before we do that, meanwhile, it is important to restate the information we have been giving out since the commencement of our activities at the Make Ondo State Great movement, that we are not working with, neither for or on behalf of any political party. We are not affiliated with any political party, not in Ondo State, not in Nigeria. The Make Ondo State Great movement is originally intended to be the voice of the people. No matter the party that is in government in Ondo State, our own responsibility is to speak for the people and hold the government to account, so that the situation where the government ignores the people and run the government of Ondo State as though the people are not important and should not be carried along will become the thing of the past. So we need to restate that we are not working with or for any political party. We are independent. Our concern is that the government of Ondo State must work for the people of Ondo State. So that is our mission. And again, we are calling for our people across Ondo State to join hands with us, because this is a mission we cannot achieve alone without the people coming on board to own the movement. the Make Ondo State Great movement needs to become a truly people movement for us to achieve our purpose. So we are calling for everyone that's been following us to come on board, join the movement, and become our member, so that together we can put heads together and deliver our state from the mismanagement and maladministration of bad governance in Ondo State. And it's very simple to join us. Go to our website, MOSG, www.mosg-ng.com. You'll find the membership form on our homepage. Complete the membership form and we'll get right back to you. Or send us a WhatsApp message to 08100198963 and we'll get back to you, and then you get through the onboarding process and land in the membership area. Now we are going to the topic of today. I'm going to be playing the voice note of the representative of the government yesterday and their responses to the issues we have discussed. And then I will be responding to their responses to the issues being discussed. And my brother who represented the government yesterday was Allen Sowore, who I think is the special assistant to Mr. Governor on strategic communication. I think I get that right. And so he responded on behalf of the government yesterday. I'm going to play the program, and then I will be pausing the program and then be responding to the issues. Let's get this started. Program
of the government, and at the university level, that is what I mentioned earlier.
Sorry.
And thank you for joining us on the maiden edition of Ayedatiwa Half Hour. This is where we discuss Ondo State governance in Ondo State, enlightening the public about some of the activities of government, and also examine the chances of the All Progressives Congress in the November 16 governorship election. And in the studio with me this afternoon, I have a key figure in the state affairs, and that's talking about the Special Assistant to Mr. Governor on Strategic Communications, Mr. Allen Sowore. He's here this afternoon to help us understand what has been going on within the coffers of government, and to also put to page some of the misconceptions out there regarding the activities of government and every other thing that we need to talk about. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you very much for having me on this beautiful edition of Ayedatiwa Half Hour. I'm happy to be here, and good afternoon to the good people of Ondo State.
Okay. My name is Olabisi Olani Oluwasegun. Now, let's start with how it has been since the assumption of this administration in power. It's been a lot of, we can call them criticism, but let's first of all clarify how government has been faring so far. What has been going on? Are there any developmental projects ongoing? How has this government impacted the lives of the citizens and residents of Ondo State positively?
Thank you very much. If remember vividly that the present governor, His Excellency Lucky Orinison Ayedatiwa, was sworn in on the 27th of December 2023. In other words, he's been in office is less than 1 year. And one very key important thing which is downplay, and I am here to lay emphasis on, is the fact that he has reinstated his commitment to ensure that government is a continuum. In other words, that he is going to cure that image in our governance system. Like new government starting new projects, why abandoning the project that he inherited, and he's not shying away from this. So he has been able to carry on with all the ongoing projects and program of the immediate past government, and even in many occasions reactivated some of the laudable programs and project of the previous, almost all the past governors. Specifically, you will note that Governor Ayedatiwa has strengthened the free shuttle school buses by injecting 5 additional new buses into this welfare risk system for our students.
We need to respond to this one. So, the first thing Mr. Showore raised as the achievement of Governor Ayedatiwa is that Governor Ayedatiwa he had purchased 5 more buses to support the school free shuttle buses project that Governor Mimiko started during his administration. Now, as at 2016, there were over 100 buses. As at 2016, there were over 100 buses in that program. And the achievement being paraded here for Governor Ayedatiwa is that he bought 5 buses. The question is, how many communities in Ondo State will get to benefit from these 5 buses? Even Akure alone, would these 5 buses serve as students across the schools and the communities in and around Akure alone? So the first achievement that is being recorded for Mr. Governor here is that he bought 5 buses. Whereas, as at 2016, like I said earlier, there were already over 100 buses. Let's continue to listen to our government. Thank you.
So, largely, in our sector, what the governor has done or what the administration is doing is to strengthen the existing governance structure to the benefit of the people. You see this in Amatekun when he introduced new operational vehicle to about 25 new operational vehicle to the security agencies, including Amatekun, the Nigerian Police, the Army, the Navy, the Civil Defense. All road projects, he has ordered contractor to go back.
Can we also drop a word about the Amatekun, about the security intervention? According to Showore, Mr. Governor bought 25 operational vehicles, and he listed the organizations that benefited from this. The organization that benefited from these 25 buses. So, according to him, these 25 operational vehicles were shared among the police, among the civil defense, among the army, then among our own Amatekun, So, even if it's just these 4 organizations, divide 25 by 4. Divide 25 by 4. So maybe Amatekun probably got somewhere around 5 or 6 of those operational vehicles, and the police will also get maybe around 5 or 6. Where am I driving at? You can see the governor consistently doing politics with development. So he can come and say, we have strengthened the school bus program, the free shuttle project. We have strengthened it. But the problem is, what did you do to strengthen it? He bought 5 buses. Then again, he can come and say, we are putting effort into supporting our security operations, supporting security agencies in the state, because we are giving them resources. What has the governor done? Maybe 5 vans, 5 operational vehicles for each outfit. Thank you. Let's continue to listen to the achievement of Mr. Governor.
Student welfare has come to the focal point of this government by ensuring that all pending scholarship arrears, new ones have been initiated, and students have been, given their scholarship and bursary, even in arrears. So, worker salaries promptly paid.
Before we move on to the issue of worker salary, Mr. Sowore talks about bursary and scholarship. Listen, these are the achievements of Mr. Governor, the Governor of Ondo State. His achievement since he assumed office December 2023. The first one, he bought 5 buses to support the free school shuttle program. Now, the second one, he bought maybe 5 operational vehicles each for the police, for Amotekun, and for the civil defense, and for the army. And the third one being listed here is scholarship and bursary for undergraduate students who are citizens of the state. And according to Mr. Sowore, the pending bursary and scholarship were being paid by Governor Ayedatiwa. My first question is, who owned those bursary and scholarships? Who owned them? This government that is winding up is now 8 years old. This APC government in Ondo State is now 8 years old. It's not a new government. Mr. Ayedatiwa has been the deputy governor for the past about 4 years now. He was the deputy governor for 3 years, and he's now the substantive governor for the last year of the last term of Governor Akeredolu governorship in Ondo State. So the pending scholarships were owned by the government of APC, which Mr. Ayedatiwa is part of. Number 2, the bursaries were owned by the same government, by him. So, and the question is, how much is the bursary? Don't forget, this same government increased school fees from the state-owned university, Adekunle Ajayi University. This government made school fee around 30,000 naira. And in some department below 30,000 naira. And increased school fees to 120,000, to 100,000, to 150,000, depending on their, different departments. So the scholarship in Ondo State, the last time I know about it, was 50,000 naira. I don't know how much it is now. It was 50,000 naira. So even for and the scholarship is not for everybody. Not all students get the scholarship. So even for the students who are lucky enough to get the scholarship, it is still far away from paying their school fees. So this is being listed as the achievement of Mr. Governor. He paid scholarship for our undergraduate student. And then let's continue listening.
Be paid. Our pensioners, old and senior citizens who have worked for 35 years, who have not been able to access their benefit. The governor has on 2 or 3 occasions has launched 4 billion for the local and state pensioner to be able to access their benefits so that they won't die on queue while waiting to collect their benefit even after working for the government. So far so good.
So far so bad, Mr. Sowore. So far so bad. It is a shame that a state government will be listing payment of salary and pensions as achievement. Are you supposed not to pay them? Well, is the government supposed to own them salaries? Who is paying Dangote staff? Who is paying Access Bank staff? Have you ever had any of those banks to come and list payment of salary as their achievement? Have you ever had any of the major players in the private sector to, during their AGM, annual general meetings, have you seen them, or during their accounting, the financial accounting and annual report, have you ever seen any sane organization listing payment of staff salary as achievement? So our government actually sees, Mr. Ayedatiwa actually sees payment of salaries of civil servants as an achievement, and payment of the pensions of those who had spent the whole of their active life to serve the state. So payment of their pension, which is they are legitimate earnings. They are legitimate earnings, which is not a favor. Our government can be this shameless to list those as achievement. I think that is a little shameful. That's a little shameful for a government, a state government, to list payment of salaries and payment of pension as achievement. That's how low we have gotten in Ondo State. Let's continue to listen to our brother.
On track to ensure that greatest happiness to the greatest number of the good people of Ondo State.
Okay.
The people of Ondo State are hungry. There is no happiness to anybody. Go on the streets, go on the market, go on the villages, go on our towns. The same music is being played. We are hungry. The people are hungry. The people need to feed their government. The people need to feed their government. There is a crisis going on in Nigeria. There is a financial crisis going on in Nigeria as a direct consequence of the two biggest policies of the current APC national government: the removal of petrol subsidy and the depreciation of the naira, the issue with the exchange rate. Now, the current APC national government, impose this hardship on the people, unleash this hardship on the people. And in fairness to the federal government has been sending several interventions to cushion the effect of these national reforms. But the problem is that these reforms are not being fed. These interventions are not being fed by the people of Ondo State. It never gets to our people. It never gets to our people. The governor seems to think that those monies are for him. So they go to Abuja, collect this intervention money, collect these intervention items, and ignore the people. And if they say that is not true, they should provide evidence. Evidence don't lie. They should provide evidence of how disbursement were made of those intervention items to the people of the state. So nobody is smiling. There is no good life to anybody in Ondo State. My brother, get that registered.
Well, you've been able to highlight some of the achievements of governments since the assumption of the present incumbent governor in office. So a lot of people, especially people who are concerned citizens who have a voice, believe that some of these achievements that you have highlighted are not practicable. They are only read on the pages of newspapers.
Exactly. That's where we hear them, on the pages of newspaper. Nobody sees them on the ground.
The reintroduction of the shuttle buses is just something that we only see on the pages of the newspaper. This is not visible for the residents to see. Now the question is, so you can clarify that government is truly working in this direction. What are the roots of these shuttle buses? Where are they specifically?
Thank you. Naturally that some people even...
Where are the shuttle buses? Where are they operating?
Like to criticize government even when government is doing something, even if the government tie the road across their house, they will close their eyes and pretend as if they don't see it. The buses that the governor inherited are yellow in color. You agree with me, you will have seen it too. Now students have resumed. The new buses that I introduced are green, white and green. Anybody who cannot see that in Ondo State will not be objective.
You can see how very unreasonable Mr. Showore is. And obviously the government he is speaking for. You bought 5 green buses. And now you claim that anybody in Ondo State who claims not to see those buses is blind. 5 buses, 5 green and white buses. How many of these 5 green and white buses will be seen in Akotogbo? How many will be seen in Iyanshan? How many will be seen in New Josun? How many will be seen in Ojuala? How many will be seen in Kiribo? How many will be seen in Irun? How many of these 5 buses will be seen in Ogbage? How many will be seen in Ikun? How many will be seen in Eshe? How many will be seen in Igashi? So you can't claim that your governor bought 5 green buses and anyone in Ondo State who claim not to see them is blind. How would we across the state, 18 local government and communities, settlements and villages across the state, we will see 5 buses? How would you distribute 5 buses to 18 local government? So the reporter is right for saying all these your so-called achievements are on the pages of the newspaper.
Every morning and afternoon when students are close, you see these buses taking students. And one thing is very important, which we must acknowledge, that transportation at this particular point in time in Nigeria is one of the greatest sector where government can intervene and it will make meaning because of...
Beautiful. Correct. Transportation is one of the areas the government should intervene. Actually, the governor of Ondo State is intervening in transportation. The governor of Ondo State is intervening in transportation. How is our own governor in Ondo State intervening? Is it these 5 buses that will make transportation easier and more affordable for the people across the 18 local government of Ondo State? These 5 buses. It is how the government is intervening into transportation in the state.
The crisis of fuel unavailability or the increase in price of fuel. So for a government to intervene in transportation of students to school is a laudable project. If anybody said he does not see, I question the person where his student or his child or what is schooling. And
my child is schooling in Akotogbo. My child is schooling in Irun. Tell me, Mr. Showore, if this bus is in Irun or Gbagi or Salawa or Akotogbo.
The buses are working.
Okay. Now, still talking about educational reforms in Ondo State. Very recently, we heard that the state governor issued a directive that public schools should not extort parents. They should stop the sale of textbooks in these schools. Now, the question is, how much of impact do you think this directive would have on the generality of parents who have kids, who have wards in these schools? What other things is government, or what other efforts is being put in place by government to ensure that life is easier for parents, especially at this time of economic hardship?
Yeah, this is very important. Definitely we are talking largely about the educational sector, and these are some of the things that the government is doing in the educational sector, because in Ondo State we classify ourselves as educationally developed state. In other words, education is our industry. So from primary to secondary to the university, the government is paying attention to the education of our children, our future. So that is the background that I've just given you, Bob. In addition, government is at the verge of releasing the final list of the teachers who have been recruited into the public schools in Ondo State, both primary and secondary school. 1,000 teachers will be injected any moment from now into the primary school, and one additional 1,000.
Thank you, Mr. Showore, and thank Mr. Governor for employing more teachers. However, the question is about textbooks, notebooks, materials to support our children in school, because principals are now asking parents to buy textbooks, to buy materials, and raising one child here or the other for them to be able to run their schools. And so the question is, how is this government supporting the education sector? How is this government supporting financing our schools and make our children comfortable in schools? I understand why you dodged that question, because the governor has done nothing. Our children had resumed in school now. This government had not bought a single notebook for any child. In Ondo State, this government has not bought a single textbook in any library in Ondo State. So how would you expect the principals, the school heads, to run the schools? As a school head, what would it feel like that pupils students come to school without notebooks, without textbook? How would they learn? These things are called learning materials. Teaching materials and learning materials, they are key, they are critical to the teaching and learning process if any success is to be recorded. So the question is, principals are asking parents to buy textbooks from them, buy notebook, buy items. What is the government doing to stop that? Mr. Showore, the government is doing nothing. So it's understandable that you technically dodge that question to then be talking about employment of teachers. It is the responsibility of the state to fund education, to build schools, to equip our schools, to build libraries, to build laboratories, to make sure that those laboratories, those libraries, and this school entirely is functional, to make sure that there are qualified teachers, and to make sure that our children get the best that is available when it comes to education, because they are the future of the state. And the Nigerian constitution concedes that to the children, that by right the state should provide for education. The state should fund their education.
The secondary school, those candidates who apply, they have gone through the first stage, the second stage, which is the interview stage, and the third stage now is when they will get their letter and they will be deployed to secondary, to their various place of primary assignment, which is the secondary and the primary school, those are particularly the public school. So this is the program of the government, and at the university level, that is what I mentioned earlier, bursary. You see Ondo State Scholarship Board giving out bursary for the first time in a very long time, and you have seen also that.
Mr. Showore, let's go back to this issue of bursary and scholarship again. According to the government own release, the government released a sum of 335 million naira. 335 million naira for the bursary that you talk about. 335 million naira for 11,222 students. 11,222 students shared 335 million naira. If we do the mathematics, that comes down to less than 30,000 naira per student. Hello? Less than 30,000 naira per student. As I speak to you, using the state-owned university, AAUA, the least school fee in Akungba today is about 80,000 naira. It's about 80,000 naira. That would be the least school fees. And then people are paying 100, people are paying 120, and people are paying 150. So you gave a student 11,220 students the sum of 30,000 naira. It doesn't pay 25% of their school fees. It doesn't pay more than 25% of their school fees. These students will have to take care of themselves. They will feed themselves. They will pay for accommodation with what we know petrol price to be and the cost of transportation now. They will pay for accommodation. They will fund their transportations. They will buy books. They will buy so many other things, and you have given them only God knows, according to you, this was even trying to clear the arrears. So only God knows the last time this money was paid. So maybe this 30,000 naira is for the past 4 years that they are now being paid 30,000 naira each. So the money released by the state government for the bursary and scholarship you are talking about is 335 million, and the number of students who benefited according to government owned figure is 11,220 students. So by simple mathematics, less than 30,000 per student. Achievement of Mr. Governor. Whereas every undergraduate student who is a citizen of Ondo State is entitled to their cost of education, being, even if it is a loan like the federal government is now doing. Nobody should be shut out of school because they could not afford school fees. So the government should make sure that nobody is out of school, nobody is dropping out of school, primarily because they cannot afford school fee. Because it is the responsibility of the state to provide education for the people. It is not out of place if the Ondo State Government has its own student loan program. So even if you are not going to offer free education at the university at the tertiary level, you should provide loan, you should provide opportunity for these students to be able to go to school unhindered. That the financial capacity of their parent will not deter their progress in education. So let's set that record straight. 30,000 naira. That was what you gave to students. That Mr. Governor is counting as one of his greatest achievements as the governor of Ondo State.
In arrears, I'm trying to clear the arrears of students for the past few years. If any student have not gotten, it is very simple. Just walk into the commission and check your application status and ensure if they have not credited your account, tell them that it is time for them to credit your account. Because the government has given the approval. These are very important assistance that the government is giving to students. And recently too, the governor has given his word that the Superb and the TESCOM and the Sobale should go and identify schools that are not in good shape so that they can be rehabilitated, even to ensure that as students resume, they can have enough schools.
For the record, students have resumed already. Students have resumed already. And according to you, the governor has now given words to Sopadec and to Superb to go and identify dilapidated schools when students already resumed, so that you can fix the schools. There was a long break. In one of the editions of our program on radio, we did mention that there was a budget for education for the year 2024, and this is September 2024. This is almost running to the end of September 2024. It is now that Mr. Governor is asking people to go and try and identify schools that need intervention so that they can fix them. Mr. Showore, students are already in school. Students are already back in school. Are you going to fix the bad buildings on their head? Are you going to fix it while students are in their classes? Failure. You know, I continue to say that this governor does not think about the people. He's not concerned. The preoccupation of this governor is how to win election. And my question is, even if you win the election, what are you going to do? You are already the governor. What have you done with the opportunity you've got? What have you done with the opportunity you got? In 2024, this year, the state budget for education is 47.7 billion naira. 47 in the state-owned budget for education for this year is 47.7 billion naira. And this is September. What has the governor done with this 47.7 billion naira? He has bought 5 school buses. 5 school buses, and he had released 335 million naira. All of them still below 1 billion. Out of 47.7 billion. So 5 school buses, 335 million naira for bursary and scholarship. That is what Mr. Showore is saying, out of a budget of 47.7 billion naira. So when will this governor begin to implement the education budget for 2024?
Furniture to cope with the academics.
Okay. Well, we said at the beginning of this conversation that there has been a lot of criticism against this government. And one of such is the fact that, especially from the opposition, they think that the state government is not doing enough, that can be visibly seen by the citizens of the state, especially as elections draw near. What would be your reaction to this notion that the funds that accrue to the coffers of the state government are being siphoned for the purpose of buying votes or, canvassing for support in the coming election.
That's what we see.
I want you to link that with the recent announcement of about 344 new special assistant and senior special assistant in the aides of a governor. What is the correlation of this appointments to bettering the lives of the residents of Ondo State?
Oh, thank you. In the theory of development, you know that human being takes a certain stage. If you want to develop a society or a place, the first thing you do is to develop the people. And the correlation, the direct correlation, is the fact that governance is brought to the grassroots. In other words, even at the federal level, and I must say this, it's constitutional for the president to appoint minister from.
We will continue to listen to Mr. Sowore, but before we lose the thought, let me interject. He is right. Mr. Sowore is right when he says in the theory of development, human capital development, people's development should take the center stage. That is correct. But how do you develop the people? Education. When a government is interested in human capital development, that government will invest heavily in education. We have now seen that this government has a budget of 47.7 billion for education in 2024. Hardly have we seen $1 billion worth of intervention in education. So how is this government concerned about developing the people, like Mr. Sowore claimed? Apart from education, when you talk about human capital development, you talk about their healthcare delivery. Where is Mr. Governor's intervention? Now, Mr. Sowore, I'm going to play the audio. Mr. Sowore is going to tell us that the appointment of senior special assistant and special assistants to the governor is the intervention, is the governor's intervention, is the governor's effort in developing the people. Can you imagine how pedestrian that thought is? That we have to develop the people, and the way to develop the people is to appoint 334 senior special assistants. Don't forget, the population of the state is about 5 million. Let's listen to him say it. Hear it from his own mouth.
The state or the federation. I remember when Agagu was here, he ran the state with 10 commissioners. He called that government, compact government.
And it was effective.
I remember vividly that
it was effective.
Ondo State people condemned that. When Dr. Olusegun Mimiku came, he elaborated governance, and governance became something that is embraced by a majority of people, where we have more commissioners, we have more special assistants. And when the late Governor Ayedatiwa came, he said that even without being reflected in our constitution, that at least there must be a commissioner from each of the local government, 18 local government in Ondo State. And what the present governor has done, Lucky Mr. Ayedatiwa, is to say, look, let us take it a little bit closer to the people and say there must be a government representative from each of the 203 wards of Ondo State. So there was a stakeholder meeting. He didn't take that decision alone. Party leaders, stakeholders, and the dome, I remember, and they said, Mr. Governor, you can't run the government alone. Let us come. And there and then he said he was going to run all-inclusive governance. So he said the party leaders should bring 10 people, qualified, competent people from Ondo State who can participate in government at their respective world. And so the party.
Now you have heard it from the government spokesperson that these 344 persons appointed was because APC leaders, because he said party leaders and he's referring to their party. The party leaders he's referring to here is not about PDP party leaders. It's not ZDP party leaders. It's not SDP party leaders. So APC party leaders came and said to Mr. Governor, the governor of Ondo State, and not the governor of APC, the governor of the entire Ondo State, APC party leaders came and said, we too want our own share of the cake. You cannot be looting this treasury and be eating it alone. We too want access to the treasury of the state, so that we can get our own court of the state as you get your own court. So the party leaders came together. They said that to Mr. Governor, and then Mr. Governor now said, go back and give me 10 persons from each local government. From each political ward. So they went and bring 10 persons. So he said, from I think each local government, they went and bring 10 persons. So you can see that this 344 appointment, like I have been saying all this while, is a political machinery for election. This was about the APC setting up the structure for election. So it's not about governing for the people, it's not about human capital development. This is about the APC. So the government of Ondo State is only governing for APC party leaders and not for the generality of the people of Ondo State, because according to Mr. Sowore, the government media person, the spokesperson for the government, according to him, this appointment was demanded by APC members because they wanted access to the treasury of Ondo State to get their own cut of the cake, and so he appointed them. It is not for the people of the state. Thank you for Mr. Sowore for helping us to confirm this point that we have been raising since this appointment was announced. Meanwhile, friends, there are still more to hear from the horse's mouth.
Sat down and selected 10 people. So what the latest appointment was as a result of the consultation and the consideration of these 10 people from each of the 18 local government in Ondo State.
By the APC members, APC leaders.
All inclusive and government or governance at the grassroots, so that nobody will be left out.
The PDP is left out, my brother. The PDP is left out. The Zenith Labour Party is left out. The Labour Party is left out. The SDP is left out. The YPP is left out. All other political parties are left out. In fact, the Ondo State people are left out. The only people you have included in this plan is APC members. They demanded access to the treasury of Ondo State. They wanted access so that they can get their own cut of the cake, and you have given them access. That's what you are saying to us.
Appointment that people of Ondo State, it would have been a different thing if Ayedatiwa appointed people from Anambra or Imo. He appointed qualified, competent EDG of Ondo State.
Is the state?
You appointed APC members. You gave APC members access to the treasury of Ondo State to loot and get their own cut of the cake. The people of Ondo State did not demand for this appointment. APC leaders, according to you, demanded for this appointment. This appointment was not in response to the people. It was not intended to serve the people of Ondo State. It was originally intended to serve APC leaders. That is according to your earlier submissions. So this is not for the people. This is for the APC. Forget about Anambra. Forget about, what do you mean? Is Lagos State not appointing people from other states? Are there no people in Lagos State from other states, in government in Lagos State? What is wrong about appointing people? The former governor, God bless his soul, Akeredolu, was he not appointing people who were not citizens of Ondo State? What is wrong? Are we all not Nigerians? So we did not bring them from Anambra, we did not bring them from elsewhere. So where did you bring them from? This is purely political appointment. It's about your party, it's about the APC, it's about the leaders of the party who feel that your governor is looting and eating alone, and because election is approaching, they hijack him, they blackmail him to give them access into the treasury of Ondo State so that they can get their own cut of the cake. That is what it is about. That's what it is. You said it yourself that it was the leaders of the APC who came together and demanded this appointment. for their people, and then the governor told them to go and suggest the people to go and nominate, and they nominated, and then you gave the appointment, and you'll be using our money to pay party appointees, political party appointees. You will use Ondo State Commonwealth to pay them, and their job to canvass vote, to buy vote for Ayedatiwa in November.
Enough to foot the bill that comes with these appointments, because I mean, except if they are working or they are going to be serving pro bono.
Look, one of the greatest challenges we have as a people is that unemployment. And you have a government that say, come, let us employ you for 4 years.
Unemployment, and the way our governor will solve the problem of unemployment is to appoint 344 senior special assistants, all of them his party members. So it is only APC members that are unemployed in Ondo State. There are not unemployed graduates in Ondo State who are not members of any political party. There are not unemployed graduates in Ondo State who are not members of PDP, APC, who are not even members of any political party at all. So for you to address unemployment, you need to give special assistant and senior special assistant position to APC members. That is how you are approaching unemployment. Your governor, Mr. Ayedatiwa, should know that to fight unemployment, you need to revitalize, you need to resuscitate our dead and buried industries. If you invest money into revamping Okitipupa Oil Park Company, do you know how many people that factory will employ? If we bring back Oluwa Glass Company, do you know the number of people that were working there? If you bring up Ifon Ceramic Industry, do you know the number of people that work there? Ditto all other investment of the state, all other companies that have been killed, all other industries of the state that have been killed. So do you fight unemployment simply by giving people wow, what a thinking. You fight unemployment by appointing people as SSA. Meanwhile, friends, listen, still more to be heard, still more to be said about this SSA by our government. Listen to him and see them confirm what we have been saying at the MOSG, that this is about election, this is about canvassing vote, this is about buying vote, this is about ringing the election in November for Mr. Ayedatiwa, and that this appointment has nothing to do about the people, about development of the state. Listen, there's still more to be reviewed.
Let us see how much you can contribute. I can tell you, some of this employment will translate into IGR, generation of
Mogbe. How? Thank you.
Yesterday I was with the SSA on ICT. There are masks in Ondo State. This intercom or telephone service providers in Ondo State. There are masks that are no longer working. It's within the confine of the state government to ensure that if you have or erected a mask that is not working for 24 months, the state has that power to bring it down. And bringing it down, you know, it translates.
We need 344 SSA to bring it down.
Because the moment you bring it down, other people, other companies that are ready, that are willing to erect masks that are working, they will come and they will pay the state government for some kind of license.
So what is the role of the SSA in that? Look at the example Mr. Showore is giving. He said that the SSA appointment will lead to IGR. And the young lady asked him, how? Good question. And then his response is that a telecom mask was not working. It was brought down so that other people will come and erect another mask there. How does that correlate with the appointment of SSAs and SAs? How does that correlate with it? How does that correlate with the appointment of SA and SSA improving the IGR? How? When we say this government lacks idea.
You know, it is easy to condemn that, appointment. No, there's no appointment that will not contribute to governance and the benefit of the people.
This one does not contribute and does not benefit anybody. Only one person will benefit from this appointment, Mr. Ayedatiwa, by the time the appointees ring election for him in November. That's all.
Put the board in place. Some of them will generate revenue for the state.
This is different from board appointment. Don't mix it up, my brother. We started speaking against the appointment of special assistants and senior special assistants since it was announced. We have not uttered a word against appointment of board members. We know it is statutory that board members are appointed to run those organizations, those agencies of the state where the board exists. So we had never said anything against the appointment of board members. Those ones are legitimate. The only question we can ask is the quality, the caliber of people that are now being appointed. If they are truly competent, if their appointment is on the basis of their capacity and competence, that's the only question we can ask. And we are not even asking that question at the moment. We are talking about SA and SSA. So don't mix them together. This is not about board appointment. This is about this appointment of election riggers, vote canvassers, and vote buyers for 2016. 344 of them that your political party leaders provided the list, and then you recruited them with our own money, and you are going to be paying them now every month for them to rig election for the APC in November. That's what we are talking about.
The people you put there, they become productive. So leaving people out of government and thinking that a governor should run the affair of his state all alone, I don't think it's progressive.
And then bring all of us into government.
Within any,
if you want to put people in government, Kuku bring all of us into government.
The theory of
all the 5 million of us, bring us into government.
1% of every organization should be at the helm of leadership. In other words, Ondo State, we are about 5 million. If you have 500 people who are providing leadership at various levels, that cannot be too much. And the governor has not appointed up to 500.
You should go ahead and appoint the remaining figures to make it 500.
The names were reeled out at once, and people going through the list and observing that we had about 400 names. It was more like the people were alien to that kind of
It's alien to the people. It has never happened. We are not River State. Our governor is behaving like Wike.
And you're here to clarify anyway that these appointments are just for the purpose of the coming election, and after the election,
that's why it is. It's for the election.
Might be dropped. That is according to what we have flying around. And the other part of it is that the monies that would be diverted into sustaining the appointments of this people.
That is the money that should be invested in education.
Parts of the economy to improve the lives of the people.
Yes.
Do you agree with this argument?
The money that should be spent on healthcare.
Because I have equally listened to people's when Ayedatiwa construct road, they say it's because of the election. So
where did they construct the road?
If, for instance, he's constructing the bridge at the junction of Yarubula going to Rese, so after the election, he will come and remove it. So if he's constructing drainage, after the bridge, he will come and remove it. He's constructing the road from Akure to Oda, Ijoka. Also, Badek has been activated. They are clearing waterways, or they are erecting bridges. They are building schools. So after the election, he will come and remove them. No, that is not a sound argument. He has appointed.
It is a sound argument, Mr. Sowore. You have now told us that this appointment was at the instance of your political party leaders, and that the shortlisted people gave to the Mr. Governor and insisted on Mr. Governor to give them access to Ondo State Treasury. That's what's going on.
So what people don't understand is that we do no longer live in the old Ondo State where you have about 2 million population, where now Ondo State is expanded. So we must provide effective governance. One of the major challenges we have, which has led to insecurity, is ungoverned territory. You have a territory without the presence of governors or government. And this is what Ayedatiwa understand, that you need people, the right people at the right position for effective governance.
Again, my brother, you talk about the issue of ungoverned territories, and then you say that is the reason the governor appointed 344 SA and SSAs So they are now going to work as the police or civil defense or military officers to take over those ungoverned territories? Or do you have the idea of what you mean by ungoverned territories? So the person you appoint in those political world now, they are now the presence of governance in those areas. When you talk about ungoverned territories, all you need to do is to arm and strengthen your security agencies to make sure that they cover the territories of the state. It is not SSA. And earlier you said you need government at the grassroots. That is why we have 3 tiers of government in Nigeria. That's why we have the president, the federal government, we have the state government, and we have the local government in our constitution. And in the local government, you have the chairman who presided over the local government, but then we have the councillors who represent their own political ward. They are the presence of governors in those political ward. You going to establish a state infrastructure in the local government territory is encroachment. It's encroachment. And this is why Mr. Ayedatiwa has refused, the Ondo State government has refused to conduct local government election, so that we have legitimate presence of governors in the local government, elected council chairmen, elected councillors to represent their ward in the local government, so that the people will be self-governing. There will be true democracy. Instead, Mr. Ayedatiwa is coming to each local government, going to each political ward to appoint APC members. How representative is this appointment? How representative of the political party existence in Ondo State is this appointment? So the only presence we now have across Ondo State is your party. Unelected. They are not elected. All of them are appointed. The governor is appointing everybody. SSA, SA, transition committee, all over the places. Whereas the constitution demands that we have democratically elected councils in our local government areas. In fact, we need to give Governor Ayedatiwa the award of the appointee governor. He likes to appoint people. He likes to appoint people into positions they are not fit, into positions that he has no constitutional right to appoint people to. Mr. Appointer.
People like when Ayedatiwa construct road, just complete their tenure, maybe 4 years. So what people don't understand is that we do no longer live in the old Ondo State where you have about 2 million population, where you now Ondo State is expanded. So we must provide effective governance. One of the major challenges we have, which has led to insecurity, is ungoverned territory. You have a territory without...
I think we'll listen to that bit. Let me put it forward a bit.
What you do first, you release the name. Send the list.
Oh, we need to hear this. We really need to hear this.
Something that should be embraced rather than people criticize. Look, let me tell you. Okay. The total money that some of these SA we collect at the end of the month, I'm sorry to say, it's not as much as some of the money that have been wasted in the past able to organize for WOSO program. So
you guys have been wasting our money. You have been wasting our money. Sowore had always been part of this government. When in the first time of Governor Akeredolu, Sowore was in this government. Sowore was, I think he was assisting the deputy governor then. So he was in this government. And now that at the second term, that Agbola Ajayi is no longer in the APC, is no longer in the government, Sowore is still in the government. So all the period there was FOWOSO program in Ondo State by the wife of the late Governor Akeredolu, Madam Betty Akeredolu, Sowore was part of this government. Yeah? Dr. Betty Akeredolu. Sowore was part of this government. Okay? So Sowore is now telling us that the same government he has been part of for the past 8 years has been wasting our money on FOWOSO. You see? This is self-criticism. Mr. Sowore, Mr. Ayedatiwa, so you have now replaced the wastage of money on Fowoso. You are now replacing it with another wastage on SA and SSA. There must be wastage. We must waste our money, either through funding Fowoso or through funding SSA, illegitimate SSAs and SAs. We must just waste Ondo people's money. Our people across Ondo State, open your eyes. November is coming. I continue to say it. Any government that ignores and abandons the people must be punished at the poll. We must open our eyes this time. We must not be deceived. Open your eyes widely. Ask yourself the critical question. How has this government served you? If it is right, reward him. If it is wrong, punish the government at the poll. Let's listen more to our brother.
But here we are talking about re-governance. Some people are still finding it difficult to understand that.
We cannot understand.
Duties of this aid.
Thank you. Their duties. Let's hear this one. Their portfolio.
Even if you want to appoint commissioner, what you do first, you release the name, send the list to House of Assembly, then they clear there, then you conduct swearing, then you allocate portfolio. In this instance, what the governor has done is that he has released the name of the people who are qualified to be appointed. They will go to
who are qualified
political department. They will do what is called in the governor's office.
Okay.
You do what is called documentation. What is the documentation? You bring your certificate, your resume, or your CV. They will look at it. You anticipate.
Mr. Shore, we are listening.
Where is your area of experience? Cognate experience. Then in your letter of appointment, your portfolio is reflected. So
let's listen to our brother. Simple logic. Let's listen to him. So the process of appointing these 344 SSA and SAs is that the government release the appointment, release the name of the appointees, and announce the appointment. And having appointed them, after appointing them, and Mr. Shore says he appoints them because they are qualified. But listen to what he said next. It was after their appointment that they now requested for their certificate and their CV. So how were they qualified? How were they considered qualified before the appointment? If you are only going to demand for their CVs and their certificate and their experiences after the appointment. So the way we now appoint people in Ondo State, the way we now employ people in Ondo State is to close our eyes, go to the market and grab anybody we find. So whoever we can grab while we are blindfolded, they are qualified. We will now bring them into government. After we now take them into government, we now ask these qualified people who were already qualified and have now been appointed, we will now ask them, what level of education do you have? You will now ask them, what is your discipline? We will now ask them, what is your experience? We will now ask for their CV. After we have blindly appointed them, shame. Mr. Ayedatiwa, you have just shown how, and I need to be decent. I need to be decent. You have just displayed how mindless the government you are leading is. To put it nicely, you have just displayed how mindless. So you are wasting our money to appoint people blindly, and after the appointment, you will now go and check their background after appointment. Kudos to you, Mr. Governor. You are doing well.
Your essay on so. It will reflect on your letter of appointment.
And you think the public do not deserve to know?
No, we don't deserve to know. We don't.
That's why I'm here to explain that it's a process.
Okay.
Because in the earlier, where the governor appointed less people, like during our where he appointed maybe 10 SSA, the portfolio were directly, attached.
This is the third week after this appointment. Mr. Shore is speaking. This is the third week after the appointment of this SA and SSAs. We still don't have their CVs. We still don't have, because Mr. Shore is explaining why they don't have portfolios. Yeah, that is the explanation. The reason they don't have portfolio is that we are yet to see their CVs, we are yet to see their credentials, we are yet to see their certificate, we are yet to know their area of competence, so we don't know how to allocate portfolio yet. We are still going to wait until we see those documents and those CVs from them before we can then allocate a portfolio. We can then assign portfolio to them. So 3 weeks after appointment, we are yet to know the qualifications of these people. Showore, well done, sir.
But here now, because of the number, you release the list first. Then they go through what is called documentation.
Okay.
Then when you are getting your letter, majority of the people who have done documentation, they have gotten their portfolio. So that's not a big issue. Everybody that have been given an appointment will get a portfolio. Okay. And they will get specific assignment to be done.
Mr. Showore, can I ask you, how was your own appointment done? How was your own appointment done? This process you are explaining, was that how you were appointed? Was that how the commissioners and other SSA, all those ones that have turned themselves to masquerade, they are carrying some display of some things they call culture up and down in Ondo State? Was that how they were appointed? Those ones parading themselves up and down. Was that how you were appointed?
It's a call to service. Majority of people.
It's a call to looting, call to ringing, call to vote buying. It's not called to serve who. You just told us about APC. That was the APC leaders who demanded them from Ayedatiwa, and that is the condition for them to support him. You said that. You said that.
Around governance in Ondo State this week. But I can assure you that we will continue this conversation next week, Wednesday, by God's grace. I want to thank my guest in the house for coming, Mr. Alan Showore.
So that was the end of the interview. So you can see how our government thinks. You can see their responses to the issue we are raising, and you can see that there are baseless arguments. You can see that the MOSG is right after all, that Governor Ayedatiwa has no idea about governance. You can see, we understand that he became governor by accident. But our concern is that he is now asking for an election. He's not asking for an election. And so, he cannot claim to be unprepared again. The fact that he's asking for an election means that he should not have an agenda. He should not have a program. He should not have a plan. A work plan for the 4 years, the next 4 years of Ondo State. So we cannot close our eyes and sleepwalk into another doom for the next 4 years. So we continue to speak for the people. We continue to ask the questions as we mean to ask them. Meanwhile, we need to appreciate the government for coming out. At the end of the day, one of the things we were asking for at the MOSG is accountability, and the fact that they are now out to speak will help the people of the state to get more feedback for their government. So that is a good one from Mr. Ayedatiwa. Even if he has achieved nothing since December last year, this is now an achievement, and we need to give kudos. We need to appreciate it, because when something is good, we cannot turn back and call it another thing. It is good that the government is now here to respond, but we pray they don't run away. We pray they don't run away. We pray they sustain their acceptance of the challenge to be more accountable. So our people, this is where we will end this edition of the program, and this is actually the first of this this program, MOSG Media Chat. And what we'll be doing here is that since the governor has decided to respond to us, we will now be coming on this platform to discuss their responses as they happen every week. We encourage you to join our movement, the Make Ondo State Great movement. It is a collective responsibility to deliver our state. Go to our website, www.mosg-ng.com. or send us a WhatsApp message to 081 001 98963. Again, our website www.mosg-ng.com www.mosg-ng.com. WhatsApp message 08100198963. Come on board. Let us do this together. We are not pessimistic in MOSG. We are very optimistic. We have not lost hope. We believe with our effort we can deliver Ondo State. We believe if we work hard, we can change the direction of governance in Ondo State, and we can make Ondo State work for all of us, particularly our children, the future of the state. So it's a collective responsibility. We're looking forward to see you. We'll be back next week with the next edition of this program, MOSG Media Chat. Thank you, and see you then. Bye.